Print money, stop the money, right? Like
Yeah.
interest rates, you just move it a little bit, like one side,
Yeah.
and that's it. Those are the two levers that they have.
Yeah. Dale. Well, switching gears a little bit, I know a lot of people have been talking about this week. The Bitcoin. There's been a lot of Bitcoin volatility. Not necessarily just Bitcoin, because it seems like it's spread to stocks and things like that. So, Mondo, what do you think's going on right now? At least let's start off with what's going on. We're in the 50s again with Bitcoin. What's up with
Yes.
that?
So I think that sometimes it's just the regular volatility, but we are flying lower. I feel that if we go under 50s, then it's not the normal volatility. It
Yeah.
actually is affecting what is happening. Right now, also stocks are down. So that means that the message that we are getting from the Fed, that they are lowering the interest rates, it kind of signals to everyone and all of the investors that maybe economy is not as great. So that's the reason why they need to inject kind of like lower the rates, and that way people can just get a better access to money in a cheaper way, and then
Yeah.
start just helping the economy. If the banks and the Fed, they don't do it properly, then we'll go into recession, which is kind of sucks, right? So because it feels like we have been in a recession, but no.
Yeah, I know there's been this thought about a hard landing, soft landing, just kind of how do you control kind of this big behemoth, which is the U.S. economy, right? But I think what freaks a lot of people out and why we're seeing this volatility is because in the past, usually when you see kind of like what seems to be is going to be an aggressive move by the Fed to lower the rates, that's because the Fed is seeing pretty much a recession coming. So when people see that recession coming, those indicators, you know, these alarm bells start going off. They're like, okay, we need to prepare for this because it's coming, right? And all indications show that the Fed is going to do kind of a steeper cut than what was expected. I think they always expected some cut in the rates, like towards the end of the year. But I think the fact or what people are thinking is coming, that it's going to be more of an extreme move or a harder cut. They think that means, you know, hey, harder times are coming, recession's coming. So a lot of things are kind of going a little bit wild right now with drops in prices. But what we've also seen in the past, yes, this is normal to see this volatility to the downside after, you know, Fed signals that they're going to lower rates like this. It does have a recovery as well. So I think maybe you know, we're not financial advisors or anything like that, so take it with a grain of salt. But usually, at least with Bitcoin, we've seen that after this like initial drop, we do see a recovery. And of course, we're at the cusp of the next Bitcoin bull cycle. So we do think this is kind of like one of the final ones before you see some upward movement. But
Yeah.
it is still in the low 50s right now. So if you're thinking of, you know, DCAing in or buying some, maybe right now is a good time.
Yeah, for sure. I do have friends that they they just keep buying in a daily basis. I haven't seen the analysis if doing a daily basis or weekly basis is better, or monthly basis, right? But for them, it's like I have some that they just do like $50, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have some others like basically any money that excess that they get from their businesses, they just buy, and they don't care what is the price, if it's in 70K or if it is in like 50K, which is I think that is maybe an approach that we have seen this year in kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, going back to the government, sometimes it reminds me. Have you seen those boats in Louisiana that they have, like they call them the airboats, that they just have like a big fan on the back?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Those don't have anything. Basically, it's just accelerate and they just kind of move the fan one way or the other. I feel like the Fed is like that. they, they just have like a
I think the boat has still more control.
free money, stop the money, right? Like
Yeah.
interest rates, you just move it a little bit, like one side,
Yeah.
and that's it. Those are the two levers that they have.
Yeah. No, I mean it is very true. There's only so many levers that they can pull to steer this big ship around, right? I mean, I think another one of the things that came out recently were the unemployment numbers and things like that. Yeah, like we've talked about this on our show several times. Hey, lots of layoffs going on, especially in tech. What's going on? So these unemployment numbers keep rising and rising and rising, and to a certain extent, you don't want them to go too high, because then, right, the economy stalls and you end up in recession, which that's what I think a lot of people are fearing right now. So
Yeah.
it's a big cycle. It all feeds into each other. So you just kind of have to wait and see, prepare a little bit,
Hmm.
and that's what people have done with the volatility in the stock market and the Bitcoin markets.
Yeah, I noticed a chart where they describe the market cap on the phase where we are with the amount of years for Bitcoin, and very interesting because they are saying that we are very early, and you might think like early. Well, if you think for humanity on how money got developed, yeah, it's like nothing, right? We are super early. But something that was interesting is that how money in the beginnings usually is like a collectible. When you have like seashells before in the past, right, and all of these
Rock,
different,
shiny rocks.
yep, shiny rocks, right? They become all of these collectibles, even kind of gold, right? It was like something to wear until it became kind of useful, right? So in that way, the I have seen some people saying that first is collectible, then a store of value, and right now because of the volatility it's still not like a full store value, but in some point when banks they are allowed to even have custody, like if you go to Wells Fargo, like, hey, I have my bitcoins, can you just store it for me? They don't know, right? They don't have like maybe in the regulations, so there's a lot of training that has to happen in the regular institutions to be able to get there. But like you can have a safe deposit. I feel that it's going to be like that with the banks. You can go to Fidelity, you can go with all of these institutions, and yes, you might be able to just print them out like certificates. But again, it takes some amount of knowledge to be able to do that. And I feel that that's maybe the next step where volatility has to get reduced, and then banks have to have some knowledge and approvals to be able to have custody.
Yeah,
Then
I think you're right. Whenever you start framing it in that respect, like, yes, I think Bitcoin in general, the thought of, hey, what is Bitcoin? I think, yeah, that has gone mainstream. But just because the knowledge of it existing has gone more mainstream, it doesn't necessarily mean, it's of how to use it or how to implement it or how to store it. That part really is, we're still super early. And I think I've seen several different variations of this graph that likely producer Katie's going to show up here. That Yeah, we're still very early in this adoption curve, and like you mentioned, all the banks have to figure out how to make it work. We have some leaders in this, right, with like BlackRock, and all these other like ETFs that are helping people buy Bitcoin right now, but there's still a lot of different financial instruments that have to be developed, that leverage it, that use this, that will be coming out, over the next several years to try and help people use Bitcoin and crypto as a legitimate like financial instrument for them to use every day.
yeah. So I think that that's where we feel that the price is still has room to grow, right? And those are kind of the thinking. It still feels like a tech bro type of a thing. I did notice a reel coming off from the Barbie, basically Margot Robbie.
Oh
She was
yeah.
in a she was in an interview. Basically, she called it the big Ken energy.
There can also be big Ken energy, and that's a good thing.
When we start talking about Bitcoin.
Big Ken energy. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of funny. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about the Barbie movie and things like that. And for those that haven't seen it, or just a reminder, Ken in the movie is like all things like man, like, hey, bro, yeah, let's go do sports. Yeah, bro, let's go drive fast cars. Yeah, bro, that's like the bro energy that she's mentioning. And maybe like, some people still see like Bitcoin being just kind of one of those things where it's only this small segment of people, like specifically like tech bros or maybe finance bros that are talking about this. But I think it for sure is spreading.
Yeah.
But in a way, she says it like big Ken energy, like it's a good thing, like it's something that you do want to see out of someone.
She compared it with Wi-Fi.
It's like Wi-Fi. It's all around, and I know we all need it
Could I tell you how it works? Not really. I can't really explain it.
It's like I need it, I want it, but I don't want to know how it's been done.
That's a
So
good point. Yeah, I mean, just like the same way, we don't know how. Well, a lot of people don't know how the financial networks work. How does your credit card work? Like, how does all of that money transfer behind the scenes and all the holds and things like that that the bank institutions have to do? Which, by the way, Bitcoin fixes a lot of that. But yeah, you just use your credit card, right?
mhm.
It's kind of in the same way. So Margot knows what she's talking about here. I think was this an interview she did with Swan Bitcoin, the company?
Yeah. She, well, it wasn't with Swan. It's basically Swan grabbed that short, but I feel that it was with somebody else. But they
I
just
gotcha.
did a snippet with that.
Hey, so I want to remind y'all to like, subscribe, and comment. You know, we do love to hear from you. Hopefully, you enjoyed the stories we brought to y'all today. If you haven't watched our viral Bitcoin videos, check them out. The price is going to explode here any day now. Not financial advisors, but that's all we've got for today. Dale.
Dale.